Hey guys, it's Aster, and I'm finally bringing you Wrecking Wi-Fi Wednesday number 6. I know it's been over 6 months since I brought you the last one, but I was encountering some technical difficulties with phone memory, and that was my only available real recording source since, I can't really rely on my mom's camera equipment because she uses that all the time and such. And obviously that's just not mine, and I finally was able to get a camera. My wonderful boyfriend gave me one for Christmas, and that's what I'm using today. So let's get started in my first Pokemon Auras battle with this brand new team I tried out, which I'm really not good at team building, so I'm surprised this turned out as well as it did. So this team is mostly brand new, and I definitely did not predict Tyranitar to start, but in the team preview I noticed that this team was definitely a sand team, and it was heavily ground rock type. And so my brand new Sticky Web Galvantula kind of serves almost no purpose, but it was definitely clutch in some places in the battle. And so Sticky Web didn't really have much of a thing in here since they're slow Pokemon on the other team anyway. So I switched into Gliscor here, something quick, and I wasn't really sure what T-Tar was going to do, but I could have kind of guessed Stealth Rocks. But I did want to get Poison Orb up and going, and I figured EQ super effective, Gliscor's got some good attack, Tyranitar's defense isn't spectacular or anything. So I'm able to pretty much just KO this T-Tar, two-hit KO this T-Tar. I guess they must have confused Stealth Rock with something that could layer like spikes, and that's why they tried to do it that second time. That's okay, I do stuff like that too. And so they go into Hippowdon here, and I realize I'm not really able to do anything to this Hippowdon, but then again, they aren't really able to do anything to me, except that yawn. That yawn kind of scared me, but they don't use it ever again in the battle, I believe, so I don't know why they didn't do that. That probably would have put momentum a lot on their side. And then here's something that really I think was kind of funny is the whole rock type against Gliscor because it's a flying type, but people don't realize that its ground type negates damage from rock type attacks and makes them have neutral damage, I believe. It might be resisted, but I think it's neutral. So I switch out here because I realized, like I said, I can't really do much to this guy even though he can't do anything to me. And I go into my only water type really thing, my other thing that could do anything to this thing besides Ranunculus, I believe. Ranunculus and or Galvantula, because they both have a grass type attack. And they switch out on me, and I'm like, oh great, I kind of wanted to get rid of that Hippowdon since it's the Sandstream. Since I already took T-Tar out, I think I have one Sandstreamer down. I believe the T-Tar was Sandstream. And I end up scolding this Cradily, which really didn't do much because this thing is especially defensive, and it's got the lefties. So here I think I stay in. Yes, I stay in and I try to Ice Beam this thing because I think it hits for 4 times effective, super effective damage. And it would have been a 2-hit KO if I would have somehow predicted that Cradily and went for Ice Beam instead of Scald in the first place. I mean, it was kind of obvious. Like, why would you stay in with the ground type against water type? Just no. Why? Why didn't I predict? I don't know, guys. So I lost Starmie here, and that was a bit depressing because it's an old favorite of mine. And this Cradily gets to live for another turn and then some. So I come in with Ranunculus here, attempting to Focus Blast it. I believe this is my Assault Vest, especially special attacking regenerator one, because I have another one that is support lefties. And yeah, they rest here, and I just cry. And then I cry again because it avoided the attack. And Focus misses. And I'm like, come on. I'm pretty sure, no, there's no ability. I'm thinking of Galvantula again with the compound eyes and the zoom lens. But Focus Blast here didn't even matter. I'm so glad it hit. It didn't even matter they switched out because it still does quite a bit to Metagross. But that is not a 2-hit KO. So they're definitely not going to switch out here. So here I'm kind of forced to switch out because I don't really have anything else that can touch them. My supporter Ranunculus has the Shadow Ball. This one does not. So I come back out into Gliscor hoping to EQ this thing to death, which I do indeed do after this very scary Meteor Mash that did a lot more than I was expecting. But thank goodness for Poison Heal and Toxic Orb because I get that HP back no problem. And then I think I protect this turn to get even more HP back so I can keep this Gliscor sitting pretty and just being the threat that it is. And I just get all that HP back, and it's beautiful. And then I EQ this thing into the ground. I'm sorry, Shiny Metagross, but you're nothing compared to this beauty that is Gliscor. I really want to get a Shiny Gliscor and somehow get one and be able to nickname it Serana for a little Skyrim reference if you guys play Skyrim. So here they come in with Ferrothorn, which is a bit of a bane in this game for me, and I always struggle against Ferrothorn. It's one of my things I struggle against, like Rhyperior and Aggron and Mega Aggron. Like, taking care of those threats, they're just defensive Pokemon. Really hard for me, guys, even though I have more attacking, physically attacking than special. So I come in with my special attacker here, thinking they were going to predict that I would Mega Evolve here and go for a Steel type, which I didn't, because I predicted that, and I did not want Altaria to die, and I wanted to be able to raise its defense to where this thing couldn't really hurt me, because at this point I didn't really know what to do to take care of Ferrothorn and get it out of this match. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to raise my defenses until its attacks do little to nothing to me, and then I'm going to Feather Dance this thing and hope I can force the switch out, because I just don't know how to handle this thing. And this is where the spikes come in. This is where I let her set up 3 layers of spikes on me, and I know you guys are probably freaking out, like, why did you do that? But luckily, it ends up not being that big of a deal. You'll see later on. I was terrified. I was thinking, oh no, this is gonna be bad news bears for me in this battle, but I was like, I need to force this switch out. I need to get this thing out of here. I don't know what to do to it yet, and I want to Mega Evolve my Altaria before it dies, so I'm like, come on, get out of here so I can Mega Evolve and do some damage to something. And here they finally do it. They switch out after they set up all their spikes, and I was kind of bummed about that. But then they bring in the specially defensive wall yet again, and I Moonblast the thing. Now, before Mega Evolution, you can see this does, like, pretty much nothing. That Cradily just, like, eats up my move, yum yum yum, and it's just done. So I'm like, okay, you're still asleep. I'm gonna hope you stay asleep one more turn. I'm gonna Feather Dance you because I know you kind of have a bit of an attacking stat. Not very much, nothing to really be afraid of, but you know, just in case you can do some damage to me with Ancient Power, which I did predict, which comes in a little bit here soon. And then I'm going to Mega Evolve and hit you with a Moonblast and hope that Mega Evolve Altaria does way more super special effective damage and has higher stats there, because I don't really know Mega stats that well, since I'm not very good at finding them on the internet. And yes, it is a 2-hit KO. It would take this thing down, if not for its lefties, unfortunately. And then this thing wakes up this upcoming turn, and I'm not able to completely take it out with this Moonblast. I was really hoping I could, like, you know, magically crit here, and that would just be wondrous. But that did not happen. And then they woke up, and then they used Ancient Power, and then I decided to stay in. I'm like, okay, I'm still alive. I can kill you with one more Moonblast. And even if they switch out, Moonblast is going to hit something. And indeed, they did switch out right here. And I was like, ugh, I just want to get rid of Cradily. I just want to get rid of it. And they bring in Ferrothorn again. And I Moonblast this thing, and it just eats it. It just eats it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snacks, and, you know, all the main courses. It just does nothing. So I'm like, okay, this is where I have to switch out. I'm not going to be able to do anything here. If anything, they're just going to take me out with an Iron Head. So I come back in again, hoping to Focus Blast this dang Ferrothorn. And they Iron Head me, and that scared me. But luckily, I'm a bit on the bulky side. And this Focus Miss actually hits. And down goes Ferrothorn. And I was just cheering because like I said, I'm really bad at being able to take down Ferrothorns. And here comes Hippowdon back in the game. And this, I believe, is their last Pokemon. And I've got 3-1. It's 3-1 right now. And I'm like, oh wait, no, it's 2-1. Or 2-1. 3-2 still. They still barely have Cradily, and I'm like, okay. Okay. I doubled out because I kind of figured they weren't going to stay in. Because I have, they might have been able to guess. They might have predicted me as I predicted them. That I had a Grass-type move and would have been able to take down Hippowdon. So they were going to go into their Grass-type probably to resist it, and I just, like, doubled out in the Gliscor, and I was like, none of that. We're having none of that. You're getting EQ'd, and you're done. You're going to bed. Good night, Cradily. And now we're 3-1. And here comes the point where it's obvious that I could definitely win, but there's still a slight chance. Oh my gosh, it was 3-3 still. I'm sorry, guys. My bad. So now we're 3-2, and here's the part where I'm actually scared, so my bad. I wasn't sure if I was going to win or not, because Mega Aggron and my troubles with it. But I EQ, knowing that Mega Aggron has more defense, and that probably wouldn't do anything, but I was really hoping whatever it was going to try and do to Gliscor wouldn't kill it, and it didn't. and it didn't even take me down to half, so it's not even a 2-hit KO, especially not with Poison Heal, so I'm definitely still sitting pretty, still a little scaredy. At the moment, I was definitely like, I don't know what else this thing does. I've only faced like Mega Aggron once or twice, and it was just bad experiences both times, so then I was just afraid to face it. So I EQ this thing, because I'm like, okay, I can definitely keep getting damage on this thing. There's definitely a chance I can take it out, because his attacks aren't doing enough damage, especially not in relation to my Poison Heal. So then I decide to substitute, just in case they have something else waiting in the wings that they could hit me with. Dragon Claw probably wouldn't have done that much, especially since it didn't break the sub here. But, you know, just in case, and I wanted to get Poison Heal back again, and then safely put out an EQ. And I think at this point, I had 2 EQs, and after that one, I'm down to 1. And I really need to put some PP Max on some of my Pokemon, especially the Sky Score, especially with EQ, because when I went down to EQ here, I was like, oh no, this is great. And then he breaks my sub, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to need to switch out, because what if I end up needing this EQ later on in the battle? There's still one more Pokemon. What if somehow that Hippowdon is able to take out my other Pokemon, you know, even though it's a ground type and it might resist? You know what I mean. So I made the mistake of sending in my Aggron, thinking, oh yeah, Mega Aggron's definitely slower, so my move will go first. And even though I didn't have ground type coverage, which I really should put on this Groudon, I thought I could take it out. And then I'm pretty sure he just went for a steel type move, and then it didn't affect me, is what just happened right there. So here's my mistake. Mega Groudon on speeds, and I'm not sure if that's natural or if they're invested, but I think they could have been invested. So here I just totally waste my lefty Groudon, and it's just pretty sad. But it does not end up being a big deal, just like the spikes. Although it did scare me too, trust me. I was like, oh no, what now? So I kind of just send Altaria in here to die, because I'm like, what are you doing for me? You're dead upon entry, so let's just get you out of the way and make this a fair battle. So at the end, like, because at this point I was pretty sure I was going to win, but not positive. I'm like, I don't really want to make them feel so bad that I 4-0 them, so let's 3-0 them. It was kind of like a courtesy thing, if that makes sense. So I go for that energy ball, because I was pretty dang sure Aggron didn't resist grass at the very least, so it would kill, and I was faster. So here comes Hippowdon, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to energy ball you, and everything's going to be alright. Even though Galvantula is kind of, you know, in on the HP side, I'm like, okay, I can do this. I have 2 other Pokemon, including Galvantula left. I got this in the bag. Here they Sand Tomb me. And then Sandstorm's damage, and Sand Tomb, I'm immediately, as soon as they Sand Tomb me, I'm like, oh no, this is going to faint me, isn't it? But somehow, Galvantula hangs on by 12 HP, and I'm able to Energy Ball again. Not even have to worry about sending out my other Pokemon, and I win this battle. First battle ever with this random team that I just put together. Most of the Pokemon I just got today, and I won. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so glad to be able to bring you this Wrecking Wi-Fi Wednesday again. I think I'm going to start doing them every other week instead of every week like I was trying to do, you know, 6 months ago, to kind of put the edge off of it a little bit. But yeah, I'm so happy to be able to bring you guys this, especially a win, especially with a brand new team, and it was just such a great battle. Thank you, Random Passerby Asuna, for this battle. It was a really good one, and thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Remember, you can't spell master without Aster. See ya, guys!